Welcome to the Sisterhood Tea Party, where we get together weekly to discuss all the tea about life, relationships, pop culture, and generally anything you chat about with your best friend over a cup of tea or beverage of choice.
We're your hosts, Stephanie and Jessica, and we've been spilling the tea to each other for more than a decade, and now we're ready to invite the rest of you to the tea party. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Today, we have such an exciting episode where we're going to talk about all things hobbies, and in particular, how hobbies change over time.
Yes, we're super excited. I'm excited to get into it. But before we get into hobbies, let's first, of course, talk about what's top of mind for us, which is Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. By the time this airs, the reunion's going to air and everything, and it's literally coming up in an hour, right?
Yes, I'm like literally when we're done recording this, I'm gonna go binge it and then
Yep.
probably post on Threads about it because I cannot.
100%. We will definitely be talking about this after. I feel like we might have to hop on again and just do like a quick little
Debrief.
debrief, but we'll see. Yes, I first of all, shout out to like five of my friends, including you, who finally convinced me that I needed to watch Love is Blind. Like, y'all are annoying, but I love you guys because once I got into it, I was like, oh, I'm in it. I
Okay,
have to.
but
I have to keep going. I know.
also I think you're the reason I originally started watching this, so you've created a monster in me, and so
I
welcome back to the
know.
party.
I know. Welcome back to me, right? It's funny because like I was so set on like not even getting into this because I'm like, I don't really feel like it. I skipped season 5. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like I needed a break, and I was like, I'm not doing season 6.
Wait,
And
but
then,
you started season 5 at my house. You never finished it?
oh yeah, no, I never did.
Oh my gosh! So you didn't see like American Flag Man? Oh
No,
my god.
I forgot that I started it with you. Oh my God. That's how
Yeah.
I pushed that away. I was like, absolutely not. So I guess I forgot. Yes, I started at your house and then I never watched it. And then I just gave up because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to it. I'll get to it. And then I was like, no, I'm good. Like I'm over it. So never watched it. I just remember the American Flag Man, and that was the extent of my season 5, my season
It's
5
the only
journey.
thing that mattered. Season 5 was terrible, but this season is like I am
Well,
like I cannot.
right. Well, that's why I got back into it because as soon as y'all were like, you need to watch it, you need to watch it. I'm like, no. Literally the day after one of the episodes came out, all the drama came out. And I'm like, huh, why? Why? What is happening? Why are they not vetting these people correct? Like, I don't understand. Like, are we missing a step in the screening process? Because who are these
Like, oh,
people?
literally. Okay, let's talk about like some details here. Like, first of
Yeah.
all, with that drama, the fact that Trevor, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him in the pods. And then all the drama came out that he was in a relationship the
Mhm.
whole time and he was doing it for clout.
Yes.
So then when you see that scene where he's like talking to what is her name? Megan Fox girl. I can't
Chelsea.
Chelsea. When she's talking to Chelsea at the party, I was like, you are slimy. Like, I see
Oh,
right through you at this point.
I know. And it's funny because before I even knew that, I just got a weird feeling about him in the pods
Really?
anyway. Like yes, something seemed off. And maybe it's because I've dated men like that before. So I was like, something, something seems
Men with a
sus.
mullet or
Just men like him, not with a mullet. No, just men like him, like the gym bros, blah, 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 blah. And I just felt something off about him. And not all of them are bad, but like he gave me weird vibes. And then, of course, that came out, and I was like, I was right.
I think I was probably so focused on the comparison with him and Jimmy, who is just
Oh my gosh.
an ick. And I also freaking hate that Chelsea makes me like feel bad for Jimmy because I'm like, ew, I don't like him, but I feel
I
bad for you because
know.
Chelsea is so insecure and I feel bad because
Chelsea,
she's probably a great friend and I would be her friend, but like it's exhausting.
I feel like Chelsea does have good friend energy, but like
Yes.
she does not know how to translate herself into a relationship. But she does not know how to just be and like be confident in herself. And I know she
Yes.
wasn't she divorced, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like there's still a lot of, not me being, diagnosing her, but there's a lot of trauma that's been associated with that
Yeah,
relationship. And I don't think seeing again from our perspective, us watching it, I just don't feel like she took enough time to heal. And it really showed in a lot of her actions and the conversations and the fights that they had. I mean, both her and Jimmy, I'm like, what are we watching? Like
literally.
the
Okay, because
fight,
also I'm like, would I be okay with my significant other being best friends and texting all day with a girl who he slept with? Absolutely
right?
not. But you
No.
can't play I'm going to be the cool girl who's cool with it and then start a
Hmm.
fight about it later. Like it's one or the
Yeah.
other. Are you okay with that or
Right.
not? I personally would not be, but I'd be upfront about
Exactly.
it.
And here's the thing, she was never okay with it from the beginning because you could kind of tell she was a little uneasy right before they met. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you should have just squashed it then and said, hey, look, like, I know that these are your friends, but like, this is how I'm feeling. He hopefully would have been way more receptive to it instead of the way that she came at it later when he
Yeah.
came back after, from what he said, an hour and a half out with friends. And she automatically assumed he was out turning up and getting buck wild when he was like, I
For
was
an hour and a half.
literally for an hour and a half. And I was like,
And that's
Chelsea,
enough
girl,
time for something,
I
but
need you, I need you to go outside and touch grass for a second because I'm like, you need to breathe. This man claims and says that he loves you, and you question him every single time. And he's telling you, it was for my friend. Like, I'm back already. Is this how it's going to be? Like, just hopping off at him. And I'm like, Chelsea, you're making it really hard to like,
root for you.
defend you right now. Like, I really, really wanted to root for her,
Yeah.
but like,
I know. I that's why I'm like, I think she's a good
I
person,
struggled. Mhm.
but I think that she reminds me of people I've known in the past who like want to be in a relationship so bad that they
Yes.
don't from the get-go like say what they expect out of a relationship, and then when it
Mhm.
doesn't go that way, like they don't set the boundary up front, I guess is like a way to frame it. Like they're
Yeah.
not like, this is what I expect out of a relationship, this is the kind of relationship I want, and if you're not giving it to me, being able to accept that then they're not the person. Instead they like are like, no, 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 I still want to be with you, so I'm gonna like I really don't feel like Jimmy gave her a lot, to be frank, but she needed
Yeah.
to recognize that herself and end it. And said, she was like, "But I want to be with you so bad." And I'm like, "Do you?"
Right.
I
Do
don't feel
you?
like this is a good match.
It never was a good match,
No.
and it
No.
shouldn't have left, honestly, it should have not left the pods, but even when it did, they both needed to work on things, and it just ended up blowing up in their faces. We saw that after their little, like, carnival date that he was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And she was like,
I was so
I was
shocked by that. I was like, "So we're not
I
even
was
getting a
too.
wedding?"
I know, I'm like, "How did we you mean to tell me that you did all of this for you to be like, 'Just kidding, I don't wanna marry you'?"
Like,
Yeah.
okay, can we also talk about AD and Clay, because I
There's so much discourse behind like, between those 2.
I was so disappointed in Clay because okay, early on in the pods, I was like,
Mhm,
this man is scum. I was not Team Clay. And then they got out, and I was like, okay, like he seems like he wants, like, he's the fact that he was talking about his trauma from his childhood and felt like I feel like
mhm.
awareness is a first step. But in the back of my mind, I was like, girl, you even said you try to fix people, and this feels like a
Yeah.
project. And then I thought they were gonna really happen, and then I was so disappointed in him. I'm like, what the like, what is wrong with you? I was very mad.
I'm gonna say something,
Say it.
it didn't really surprise me at all.
Oh,
Just yeah, I'm not gonna s I wanna say it, but I'm not gonna say it, so I'm just gonna say this. His behavior was not surprising to me at all because it's something that I have seen before. Um, so all of this like talk about I'm doing gonna do this, all of that,
uh,
like his red flags were showing and he was showing them to AD and she ignored them as some women do. I mean, I've been there. I put myself in her shoes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've totally done that. So like you see right through it. You want to be a fixer. You think like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Like I got this. Like, and she even herself was like, I don't know that I'm like deserving of love, things like that. So like when she felt that this man was like going to give her everything, she let it all out. I mean, she let her guard down and she was fully ready and she was fully committed to the experience. But unfortunately, he ended up disappointing her at the altar, which that is a whole this whole thing was like,
I
it
hope
was
he gets
frustrating.
dragged during the reunion. I was
I
so
hope so
mad.
too. The other thing that I didn't talk about, so I talked about this a little bit on TikTok, but I didn't bring this point up. And I thought about it afterwards and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that just gave me the ick. Was when she was walking down the aisle. And the thing that he says to her as she's walking down, I mean, first of all, if my man is up there, okay, he's up there and he sees me walking down the aisle, right? And the first thing that he says to me is, okay, body, I'm turning around. I'm turning around. Like, gone. We're done. But it was just like the most unserious thing. And then for AD to follow up being like, you see the material, like, ma'am, don't, which again, I'm like, this is this is not serious. Like, what am
No.
I felt like I was in Instagram comments going back and forth and seeing this. Like, that's what it
You're
felt
like
like.
fire emoji, like
Like, that's what it was giving. It was giving like fire emoji, like
yeah,
crown, all of that. And I'm like, no, like this is not how you talk.
no.
Like it was just that whole exchange was very much like so not serious. So then I like knew where it was kind of going, but I was really hoping that like it would kind of turn around and it didn't. Um, but I remember also seeing something on TikTok where someone or a few people had actually pointed out that like there was a scene while they were giving their vows or something where like Clay mouthed the word no or something, or
Yeah.
he like
Like
got ready to
say no
say
or something
no.
like that.
Yes. And I was like, oh. And I went back and watched it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this the first time?
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think she said it best at the end when she was
Mhm.
like, I'm glad that you learned a lot about yourself or whatever, but like I feel like you used me in the process. And I
Mhm.
100% feel like
I felt
that's
that.
what it is.
And 100%. And I fully support AD. I'm an
I
AD girl.
love
Like
her.
I love her and I will fully support her. But honestly, at the same time, like she reminds me a lot about myself in relationships in the past where I have given my whole self to someone who is not 100% there, someone who tells you they're going to give you the world and like takes it out from under you. Like I felt her. So like seeing her emotions, seeing her like raw real pain, I was like, whoa, like this is something that I've experienced before. And I get it, you know? So
Yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see what the dynamic is like during the reunion. And I hope that Clay gets red to Phil. So
I hope they're not
anyway,
still together.
I hope
Um
not either. But
Also, I love that AD is such a girl's girl. When she
yes,
interrogated Sarah Ann, I was living for that whole conversation. And then when she was like, "You're not sleeping with my man, so it's like I don't really care."
exactly.
I was like, "Oh,
But she was checking for her because she was like, listen,
yes."
like, what are you doing? Like, you very much infiltrated a relationship. They were still engaged when you reached out. And Sarah Patriot Ann does not get it. She very much is like, oh, like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I don't see what the issue is. And I'm like, open your eyes.
Literally. And
Like,
also,
she very, ugh,
you and I have talked about like what it means to be a girl's girl on here before and
yes.
how
Mhm.
it doesn't mean you don't check your friends or call your friends out.
Right.
And we've talked about how there's a difference between like trying to call someone out for something like in front of a big group or in front of men versus
Yep.
pulling them to side and being like, "Hey girl, like I don't feel like this behavior is aligned with your values." And I feel like that's where AD really came from. She pulled her to the side. They had
She
that
did.
conversation. And what did Sarah Ann do? She got immediately defensive. And it was
She got
like,
so defensive.
a
Oh,
little
you could tell because she
self-reflective.
knew that she was wrong and she still was loud
Yes.
and wrong and was like, I did nothing wrong. I'm not going to sit here and feel bad for this and I'm not apologizing. Okay, Miss Girl, like
Who
you're
you
picking,
then?
just say that. Like you got picked, so you're welcome. Like, okay. But
Yeah.
like I just love the way that AD carried that conversation, though. She was not rude to her at all. She was simply asking questions to clarify, to get Sarah Ann to just realize, maybe I should self-reflect here and realize I kind of messed up here. But no,
Literally.
Sarah went to the defense and was just like, that's not what I said. I didn't say this. Well, you got that wrong. It's like AD's like, well, I read the message, so I don't know where you like try
And then
again.
clearly she felt no remorse because then her and Jeremy are off like
On the water
onto the
skis.
sun sunset on the
That
jet
was
skis.
that was the
Also,
most
were those
uncomfortable
Clay's jet
scene.
skis? Were those Clay's? Because
Ah,
I heard he has a jet ski business, and that's why he went on the show was to promote jet ski business. Like, was that his jet ski?
probably. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, they've pulled a lot. I don't know, these producers on Love is Blind, they've been pulling some stuff. So like it would not shock me that if they were his or not. I'd be like, "Oh, that checks out given everything else that's happened in this season."
Also, Jeremy was married, right? Is that what it was? He was married and lived with
Yes.
someone like
Yes, the
what, a month
comment
before or
from
something?
yeah, I remember seeing like a screenshot of the comment like, "Oh, how do you know?" And like the woman said, I'm the mother of."
It's me.
I was like, "Wow, what?" Yeah. I'm like, it just the trash keeps just revealing itself day in, day out in this
Truly.
show. Oh,
Truly. Also, there is the couple that actually did get married. I can never remember their name because I thought they were going to get married from the get-go, to be frank.
Johnny and Amy,
Yes.
I
I mean
believe. Yes.
they seemed great
They
together.
they were there was I don't have anything to say about them, which is probably that's a good thing. If I have something to say about you, it's not great.
They
But I
done
don't really
fucked
have
up.
anything. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about either of those two. I just know that I think they were, to me, sometimes it felt like they were trying to engineer drama with them by using the whole thing that like she wasn't on birth control and this whole thing. So I think they were trying to fluff that up a little bit to make it seem like it was an issue, but like in reality, it was never an issue with those two.
No.
Um,
I mean, even AD was like, they're sleeping together. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
so I felt like it was definitely for the storyline.
100% because the producer like we don't have anything else with these two. Like we need to like get something going and there's nothing. So honestly, best wishes to them. Let's see if they're still together because we're about to find out here soon.
My gosh, yes. I can't wait to see what happens at the reunion tonight and
Hmm.
what additional drama will unfold. So if we get anything wrong in this
I
podcast
know.
because more has come out, we apologize, but
Yep. Well, it
these
is
are
what
our
it
current
is.
feelings. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, well, so we broke down Love is Blind. That was our top of mind today. Let's get into the tea today now, even though I feel like
Yes.
we probably could have done it. We considered doing a whole episode on that topic, but I think
I know.
it is what it
If we would have waited until after the reunion, yeah, we definitely could have.
is. Yeah, for sure. Well, today we're talking about hobbies. What the F is a hobby? Like,
What is a hobby? I don't okay, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. When someone asks me like, "Oh, like what do you do for fun? Like what are your hobbies?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Sleep? Like what i- what is a
binge watch Love
hobby?
is Blind?
Right. Like I realize that I'm like, do I actually have hobbies or I just like go out and about? So I consider like working out as a hobby because I do work out. I also like hang out with friends. Watch movies, things like that. And I'm like, are those hobbies or are just like what
Like,
else
why do
is a
you feel
hobby?
this like weird imposter syndrome when you're asked that, right? You're like, oh God, I'm so
Yeah.
lame. I don't have hobbies. Like, it's a
Yeah.
weird vibe, I feel like. Like, it's like my least
Yes.
favorite icebreaker. What do you like to do for fun? What
Hate
is your
it.
hobby? And I'm like,
Hate it. Next question.
I don't know. Ask me something interesting. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
just
agree.
I just wish I knew like how to define it better because I'm like, what defines a good hobby? Like what defines a hobby?
Yeah. I do think though, like, I have felt like over time, I've gone from being so focused on my career, like development and like education and stuff like that, that now I
Mhm.
have more time and space to think about fun things to do, which I guess I would consider like my hobby space, if you will,
Yeah.
like reading. I used to only read journal articles and research articles, and I did not have time to read for fun. And now I read for fun. So that's kind of like a hobby,
Yeah, and
I
that
suppose.
shows how much it's transformed from like when you were young, like in your 20s to now being in your 30s and like that dynamic and how it's shifted.
Yeah. But I still think the pressure is dumb because, like you said, like working out, is that
Yeah.
a hobby? Like, I like yoga. Is it a hobby or is it just
Right.
me, the table stakes of what I got to do?
Yeah. And I feel like with hobbies, they definitely evolve over time. Like they evolve over time. And like as you've grown, as you learn different things of the world, you've gone through different life experiences, they'll definitely change. So like what you did like in your 20s might be a little bit different. And sometimes they stay the same and that's okay. But like Okay, so hold on a second. I wrote down a few hobbies that I gathered from my friends. I literally was texting and I was like, I need everybody to send me your hobbies now.
Wait, are
Um,
these current hobbies or like old hobbies they've let go of?
both,
Okay, cool.
both. Yeah. So in their 20s, right? They did a lot more socializing, so a lot more going out, dating as like,
Drinking.
yes, drinking, all the things, dating as a sport. So like marathon dating, going out simply for a free meal. Sorry. I
No.
had to say that, but that's what they did.
Yeah.
Also, let's see, playing sports and like being
Mhm.
involved, like doing a lot of like intramurals, recreational things, stuff like that. Really, really big on social media too. Like spent a lot of time on social media, not in the way that we do now, but very much like had every social media under the sun. Like we may have talked about this like earlier, but like having, MySpace and all of those things and like
Yeah.
continuing all of those and then the way that it's evolved now.
Careful, you're
And
showing our
then
age.
I
To be
know,
clear, we were in high school for MySpace. Okay, calm down.
yes, like relax. And then experimenting with like fashion and like different interests. So like that's to me, I
Mhm.
was like, oh, that's so interesting because a lot of those things happened when being in our 20s, like that kind of gives off like, oh, it's kind of like in our developing years, kind of figuring out our life and our like what we're wanting to do and things like that.
Yeah.
And really experimenting with just a bunch of different things, doing new things and not really having like much thought behind it. Maybe you did, but like for me, I was like, whatever. But
Yeah.
now 30s, a lot of things kind of got a little bit more refined, right? So I'll mention the first one and then I'll kind of get into some other ones. So
Yeah.
exploring new cities, so traveling and like being more intentional about traveling.
That's a good
Yes.
one. I didn't even think of travel as a hobby, but it's like 100%. Yeah.
100, I
Agreed.
feel like that it is. Yeah. And
Yeah.
especially if they're going to travel because they want to experience different cultures and different experiences that way. And they're not traveling because they're doing it for school. They're traveling because again, it's for fun now.
Yeah.
And then being involved with like more social organizations, like as a young adult, in our 30s. As an example, myself and a few of my other friends were part of the Dallas Cotillion Club. So like we do a lot of different social organizations. We volunteer, we have different events and things like that. Those are things that like I never would have thought about joining in my 20s because I was like, I don't have time for that. But now in my 30s, I'm trying to cultivate more meaningful relationships and also be around like-minded individuals. And it helps to
Yeah.
be in that same space with people who are around the same age. And then I had mentioned earlier too, with sports, playing sports versus attending them now in our 30s, because I mean, I don't know
Oh,
about you, but for
yeah.
me, I'm not old, but I'm saying like my body cannot handle, you know,
Playing.
playing a sport for a very long period of time. Like working out as much as I do, but I'm not getting out onto a field and playing kickball or playing baseball, softball, none of that. Like that's not my vibe. Now I will go sit and watch a game and have a good time, but
Yeah, yeah,
playing,
yeah.
no thing.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Like, to me, when I was younger, it was like drinking, going out,
Mhm.
lots of socializing. Because I think, especially in college, right? Because in college, you're like, I don't like, we were all around each other all the time. We all worked together, all of the things. And then, and I also used to do tennis, just like for fun. I didn't know the rules. I just went and hit the tennis ball for fun, like I just like to do that. And my husband and I would go and do that. But now I still like going out and having a drink, but like now I'm like I'm a classic day drinker, right? Like I'm like, "Oh, it's a Sunday or a Saturday.
Yes.
Let's go and start maybe around like noon, go to a cute little spot. That way I can still be home and do my skincare routine and in bed by 8:30 p.m."
100%.
Back in the
Yes.
day, it was like, "Let's
Agreed.
start at 9 p.m." Absolutely not.
Yes.
Never again.
100%. Day, just a day vibe, brunch,
Yeah.
anything like that, where I'm
Sunshine,
home,
cute
but
outfits. Yeah.
yes, yes, you can get me outside at any point. After 6 PM, I'm like, "Ooh, dinner, maybe," and then I'm going straight home because I'm not trying. Now, every once in a while, don't get me wrong, every once in a while, you can catch me outside after dark,
Rare.
but
Very
very
rare.
rare. This weekend, I have a bachelorette. I will be outside after dark, so Just
Special
keep me in your
occasions,
thoughts.
right? But not like a hobby that you're doing every weekend
No,
or every
absolutely. That's
day.
very agreed. It's very much a special occasion type situation. It's one of those things that I have to prepare 3 to 4 nights in advance just so I'm like ready to go. I can't just like wake up and do it. Like I've been going to bed early starting now and I'll be ready by Saturday.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And I feel like, so I will say another thing that's changed for me over time is I used to be like, I mean, I'm still pretty analytical because what I do for a living, but like I
Hmm.
was very like analytical driven. And I think it was like because I was so like career and education motivated, like I was very analytical. I did nothing
Hmm.
creative. I did nothing art related. I did nothing craft related, like none of that. Like I
Right.
didn't even want to like, for special events where people would like create their own shirts and stuff. Like, nope, want to buy it. Now I feel like I use this like these kinds of hobbies as like a creative outlet. Like I will sew something or I'll buy one of those like book nook crafts where you put it all together or like a paint by
Hmm.
numbers thing or I've just like taken stuff and like created something with it, as like just like something to go on my shelf kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that is something I did not have when I was younger that I do a lot now, actually.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I feel like I have a lot of friends that do the same similar things where they're trying to be a little bit more creative and like have different spaces and things like that. So I really like that.
And it's fun because I think that for a long time I thought that having a hobby meant you had to be good at it. Right? Like, can
Hmm.
I claim this as my hobby? Like, can I claim that I sew things if I'm not good at it? Like,
Yeah,
and I think you can. Like, you don't have to be good at it for it to be fun and enjoyable. And like,
right.
creativity is about like letting go of perfectionism. And I am a
Absolutely.
perfectionist, so I need that outlet.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's so nice to be able to like, if it's something that truly interests you, it's something that you want to see, like where you can go with it, then why not? Like, there should not be any limit of, what is a hobby to you and what can't you do because you're not good at it. I mean, there are people who probably bake, cook, etc., and they're maybe not great at it, but they're doing it because they love it. It relaxes them. It's whatever. It provides them that joy that they've been needing. And I think that's the most important part. As long as it's bringing you joy and it's something that feels fulfilling, it shouldn't matter.
Exactly. I know you said that somebody said fashion or some or style or something. Was that something they
Yes.
did when they were younger or older? Where you
Yeah.
said that?
So when they were younger, they were experimenting with fashion. So trying to figure out different trends, seeing what like works best for them and doing a lot more experimenting than they are now. Now that they've kind of figured out like what looks best for them, they're shopping more in specific stores or wearing things that are kind of similar that like make them feel the best. And they're not doing so many like outside going outside of like whatever feels comfortable for them. Now, I'm sure occasionally they'll wear something that they're like, oh, let me see if this looks good, but it's not to the extent that they were in their 20s.
Thing. Do you relate to that? Do you
Mhm.
feel the same?
Um, I don't know, honestly. I feel like my style has definitely evolved from when I was in my like I look back at some photos and I'm like, whoa, like what what was I wearing?
Well, trends
But
have
I
also changed, but
trends have also
we used
changed.
to wear the WWE belts, so
What a time. I did love that. I loved that trend back in the day. But I do feel like I have now when I get dressed and I'm looking for inspiration for fashion, I'm looking to see what fits my body type the best and what things just look good on me. Because I have tried different styles that I've seen online and things that are trending. And sometimes it looks great, and sometimes I'm like, ooh, that's not giving what it's supposed to. So in a sense, I guess you could say I'd be experimenting, but it's not, I don't go out and like buy different types of things all the time. Like I'm very much like once I've found kind of like what feels the most comfortable and like what I feel best in, I kind of stay within that, like, I don't know what you want to call it, that's kind of style
style, yeah.
and kind of go from there and like figure out, okay, best price point, stores to look for, things that I kind of like mix and match because I've for a very long time have like decided that I really wanted to like build out more of a wardrobe that is more neutrals with pops of color and kind
Like
of keep those in
capsule.
rotation. Yes. So that way I always have something to wear without having to feel like I need to go buy a new outfit.
I love
That's kind of like
that.
where my vibe is now. Hmm.
You're like, if I like it, I'll just buy it in another color. I like it.
Yes,
I'll
and
just find
I
another color.
so this mock neck top here, I
Yeah.
have 3 or 4 other colors
Yeah. Love
because
that.
I just
Where'd you
love it.
get
And
it?
this is Old Navy.
Okay.
Old
Yeah. You
Navy,
have told me so many times to shop at Old Navy and I always forget about them.
Old Navy has me in a chokehold. Okay. They gave me $100 of super cash. Now, granted, did I spend money? Yes.
What
Okay.
did you spend to get the $100?
Ooh, I don't know. Just more clothing. But here's the thing. I'm very much, again, that was me, I guess in a sense experimenting, but I was experimenting with Old Navy. Because I would buy it and then like try things on, keep some, return the rest. But I guess it like accumulated and I ended up keeping or getting $100. So I went and bought more things. And then I kept getting more super cash. And I'm like, stop doing that. I can't keep spending money. But yeah, I picked up a bunch of different like basics and tops that I want to mix and match. I picked up some shorts because it gets super hot here and I just need lighter clothing to wear because I am trying to be outside more in 2024, but it's also going to be super freaking hot. So I'm like, I need clothing that can work for that.
I
So,
love that. So I feel like for me, fashion when I was young, like especially when we were in college and we literally worked in retail, right? So like
oh yeah.
buying sales, always buying new clothes. I loved to shop back then and like was like really doing a lot with fashion. And then I hit like a long period of years of like a lull period where I was rocking just leggings, really not much else, and I just really didn't have time or the energy to follow any trends and I didn't pay attention at all. And I think in the last 2 years, I've started now to like be like, you know what? I used to really enjoy fashion. I used to like when I was like even like a kid, I was like at one point I wanted to be a fashion designer. You know, obviously I didn't
Mhm.
pursue that, but like I was like really interested in it. So I was like, okay, I want to start getting back into it. And now I'm like obsessing with it. Like, but like to me, it's more of a hobby now. Of I'm like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
like I'm really liking this style. I wonder if that would look good on me and like trying to like plan outfits. I mean, you've seen on social media, I've been posting more outfits and
Yes.
stuff. Like I feel like really loving it. And so to me, it's like a hobby now. But like I had that period where didn't I didn't
Yeah.
change my style, but not just that I didn't change my style, but like I just like wasn't even interested in shopping for anything at all, you know?
Yeah. No, I've definitely seen that. You have been curating just some cute outfits out there, and I love it because you're linking all of them. So it's like, ooh, if this is something that like appeals to somebody, you just click on that link and you can just
Yes.
order it and try it for yourself to see if that's something that would fit you. So like you're almost doing what these other like fashion forward influencers are doing is basically putting on these outfits. Do you like it? Great. Definitely check it out and see if it's something that would work for you.
Yes.
I love
Including this
it.
new sweater that I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've worn it.
I
I absolutely love it.
it's so cute. That's definitely a good
Thanks.
vibe. I love
Aw.
I've been like really loving pink lately. Like clothing wise, even though like pink is obviously like one of my favorite colors, but I just it's funny because I love the color pink, but didn't own a lot of pink and I'm like that's so bizarre.
Time to change
But
that.
I know I'm working on it. So
Yes.
in time, yes. Now,
Love it.
here's the thing. I want to transition to fun, kind of like maybe off the wall hobbies that people might have.
Yes.
One that I would like to share from a friend.
I think I know what maybe is coming.
You might know. So one of my best friends, she is obsessed with squirrel watching.
I love. I love.
I love it. So she has gone as far as like basically she has names for specific squirrels that come to her like little courtyard patio. And she's got like this whole setup for them and they come by and like they're like munching on the little like snacks that are there. I mean, it's a whole setup. And I love it. She shares it on her stories and I'm like, I live for this. So, and she's probably going to listen to this, but I'm probably going to get her something squirrel related for her birthday. Just FYI, I don't know what it is going to be yet, but it probably will be something fun.
I
But
freaking love that. I remember when you told me about
yes,
this and I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, squirrels are quite entertaining. They're quite sassy. And so if you
they
like are
are.
probably just like sitting there with them for a while and they're the same ones that come back all the time, like she probably knows all the squirrel drama. Like you could probably have a whole reality show on the squirrel drama.
I would think so. And honestly, I'm shocked that she hasn't like piled something up because I'm sure with all the video footage that she has, like it could definitely be made into like a TV drama. Like I'm sure we could make something happen.
We would all, instead of talking about Love is Blind,
Yes.
we'd be like Love is Squirrels or something. Squirrel is
Love,
blind.
yes.
I don't know, something.
Squirrel is blind.
I don't know if that
Yes.
works, but that would be so funny. Yeah. Similarly, I have a friend who raises chickens. She has like a small like farm and she raises chickens. And so it's like a whole thing for her where she also gives eggs out to people in the community because she has too many
Hmm.
of them and she's like raising them. And it cracks me up because there is also like a chicken community on TikTok. I don't know if you've seen this where like there was a
No.
trend a while back and I can't even remember what it was, but it was like chicken wars of some sort where people would like show themselves with their like hundreds of chickens behind them in their yard and stuff. And it was very funny, very niche part of the
Oh my
internet. But
gosh.
I would always send her those because she loves her chickens, her little chicken farm.
I need to know more about this later. Here, I was looking through all the other notes that I had from other people, and everyone else has just said like other regular hobbies that I at first didn't realize that they were hobbies, but they are.
I guess I don't know if this is like obscure or this is just I'm a weirdo, but I have always been like a fandom person. Like I have an obsessive personality. I do have OCD, so this makes sense. This checks out. Um, but like when I like something, I
Mhm.
like obsess over it, like from like a fandom perspective. So like when I was younger, it was Harry Potter, right? Like, it was like my whole personality was like Harry Potter. And it was like everything I like lived and breathed. I remember when I was at work and I would put presentations together, I would always try to drop a little Harry Potter reference somewhere in every single presentation I give. It was like
Right,
looking back, it gives me the ick, but that's who I was. And now that's how I am with Akatar, which is a different book series, fantasy book series.
right.
And I feel like I'm obsessed with it and I want to talk about it all the time. And I kind of think it's a hobby because like I join
I think
communities to
so.
like talk about it. I like buy little knickknacks related to it. Like I think fandoming
Yeah,
is a hobby. I don't know if fandoming is a word, but I'm making it a word.
it's a word now.
I dub the word.
Yes. Speaking of that, I feel like I had another friend too that had mentioned, she has always read like both in her 20s and her 30s, but now in her 30s, she's reading more like smutty books and more, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, yes. Which that was been one of my books that I've been reading
Wait, what are you
because she
reading right
gave
now?
I forgot the name of it. That's
Oh my.
she's gonna be like, oh my gosh, how dare you forget it? But I'm like, because I'm not keeping up with it right now.
Oh.
I will grab the name for you.
Is it like
And
fantasy smut or is it like more like modern like
it's like modern. Yeah.
yeah.
Like it,
Mm.
yes. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
it's so good. She
You'll
asked
have
me
to let me
what
know.
level, yeah, she asked me like what level like do I like one being like super mild and four being like spicy. And I was like, give me three or four. Like I need a
Yeah,
little spice. Yeah, I was like, give me
100%.
some spice. And I was like, ooh, this is spicy. This is good. But I will give you the name. And
Please do.
yes,
I will also give you some smutty recommendations because I love it.
love it.
Also, so there's the smut scale and then there's the darkness scale. Are
Ooh,
you are you is this like a dark romance or no?
no, definitely not
Okay.
dark. Because I don't like dark things.
There's like a degree of darkness I can go to, and I have
Yeah,
surpassed it in some very, very popular books, and I literally had nightmares from them. And I've realized about myself is I don't mind high stakes. I don't mind things being
right.
intense and potential bad things happening, but like
Yeah,
the level of graphicness of those bad things can only go so far, and I can't do it.
right. It kind of scares me. And I don't like being scared when I read books.
No, the real world is scary enough. We don't need to be afraid of our
Right.
books.
I have to deal with men out here. Like
Literally.
I don't need any more drama or scariness. So
No. But that's also why we read books about with men who are written by women. Brilliant.
right.
The perfect man
It
does exist and he was written by a woman.
by
Period.
women. Yes. Fortunately, they only exist in the books. So I'm like, it's fine. It'll carry me through for right now.
I know. I literally have a shirt that says my book boyfriend would never treat me this way.
Yeah, honestly,
Sorry.
that is a fact. That is a fact. I love
Oh,
that. I need
I
the
love
link
it.
for that.
Girl, I designed it. I will send it to you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
Because I
Still,
wanted it myself. So I was like,
my comment still stands. I need the link.
we'll share. We'll share.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else we want to talk about hobbies? Otherwise, I think we should switch over to our next topic before we close out.
Uh, yeah, let's move it on. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Okay. Y'all know that we're trying in this new season to introduce some more podcast games and things like that. And right now our segment is what is the ick right now? Do you want to go first? What is the ick right now?
Yeah, I'll go first. People who start shit for no reason. Like, I have so many examples of this, and I'm going to just give one today. Okay. And honestly, I don't think they're ever going to listen to this, so I'm just going to tell it anyway.
Mm.
So, there is this individual at the gym, and without giving away too many details, basically, this person got upset with me because I don't play nice. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. So, every single day we line up in our areas and we get ready to work out. And I typically like to just like start within the first two stations and like rotate from there. Not a big deal. Nobody ever says anything to me. One day she was just standing right there as I was standing there, and I just didn't move because I'm like, this is where I always start. Nobody has ever said anything, and you're never over here. So I'm like, not understanding what the issue is. All of a sudden she like whips her head around. She's like, uh, you can't stand here. And I was like, what? I was like, I already said I was gonna, like, I already talked to people in the area, like, I'm gonna stay here and like work out. And she was like, fine. She's like, you never want to work with anybody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, why are you
What?
so upset? Yes. And then proceeded to like talk shit the whole time in class. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, I don't understand why you're so upset because, first of all, you're never where I start. So I don't understand why you decided to come up to me and start the drama. Like, it never
Also,
made any
why does it
sense.
matter? I don't understand why
It
it matters.
it doesn't matter. She just wanted to pick a fight because she didn't ask anybody else except me. I already know she doesn't like me, and that's fine. She's one of those people that has in her bio, not everyone's cup of tea. Well, no kidding,
Ugh.
because you're bitter. So
Ugh.
anyway, I just was
Yeah.
frustrated. And then she just like I said, she like continued to talk about it the rest of the class, like with people around her. And I'm like, this is just weird. I'm like, I don't understand why you're
Drama
upset
spiral.
about. Yeah. And I'm like, this was never an issue. Like, no one has ever said anything to me or anybody else around class. So I don't know why she decided to like start that. Like, it's not a thing.
Just
I don't
negative
know.
people being negative about everything and always having an issue with
Everything.
something.
Always wants to say something. And I'm like, girl, bye.
I appreciate you spilling that tea. I love it. I love it.
They'll
She
never
won't ever
listen to it
listen.
anyway. So
And if she
I'm
does
not
listen,
worried
she's
about it.
already a hater anyways. So thank
Exactly.
you for the engagement.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay, so my ick is people who complain about people who are homeless. If there was ever a bigger red flag, if like, so I've been around people who will be
Hmm.
like, we'll be talking about a city, talking about Chicago or San Francisco or wherever, and they'll be like, oh, there's so many homeless people. Or Denver. I live in Denver, right?
Right. Yeah.
There are a lot of homeless people in Denver, just like there is in every single city in the US, because guess what? The US doesn't take care of their homeless people well. I digress.
Mm.
And so if you are loudly complaining about homeless people, to me, that is such a sign of a lack of empathy, especially if you're doing absolutely nothing to help the community at all.
Hmm.
You're just living on your pedestal in the suburbs and just are going to complain about homeless people. Like, what? Why are they bothering you? What?
That's
What?
like
What is the bother?
that
It gives me the
that
ick.
is so that is icky to me because I'm like, what did they do to you?
Literally, they're literally at their like they're
They are trying
struggling.
to, right, they are trying to survive. They are trying to
Literally.
exist as just a human. And you're upset because they're there.
Yeah, I'm like you're upset at their existence. Like, sorry for
Yes.
existing in your space. Like, what?
In a
It
in a place that's not taking care of them. So like, what?
literally, like the systemic issues behind homelessness is like I just feel like all you have to do is scratch the surface to try to understand the issue and you'll realize,
Mhm.
"Oh, I should have some more empathy." So to me, it's also like a sign of like you literally don't have critical thinking skills to like
Not
even
at all.
consider what led somebody to this moment and what systemic issues could lead you to this, and you're going to loudly complain about it because it's so inconvenient you have to see a homeless person. Like, ugh, it gives me the ick so
That's
hard. I
that
can't.
is gross to me.
I
Like,
can't.
be for real.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I don't want to be like associating with you. I'm like, I
Absolutely
don't want to
not.
be
I
in your
will.
presence.
Yeah, I'm like, because if you're gonna say that about homeless people, like that tells me everything I need to know about you as a human being. Like, you're just willing to talk your mess about everybody and anyone, anything at any time. Like, those are not the people you want around.
No. Mm-mm. And it
Mm-mm.
also, sorry, one last rant on this, and then I will drop my ick. It also irritates me when it then starts informing policies because in my neighborhood, probably like 6 months ago now, okay, and for the record, like it's not like there are a lot of homeless people in my neighborhood. Like I live in a very nice suburb and I've maybe seen two or three corners where sometimes there will be somebody asking for money.
Right.
Very rare, very rare. Probably about 6 months ago, a bunch of signs went up around the neighborhood that said do not support panhandling, like city signs, like not like pasted signs, like a city in the poll they had to pay people to put these signs in that said do not support panhandling does not help the problem, go donate here. And I'm thinking, hmm, okay, yes, there are organizations that are very helpful, but like, do I trust that that organization is actually being helpful? Because this feels like they lobbied to get more money for themselves
Mhm.
and stopped people from helping people directly, which I think is super problematic as well. And they're everywhere now. And I'm just like, what the
Yeah,
heck?
they're putting up like some sort of like, I don't, I that is icky to me too. Because it's like,
Yes,
why are you putting a barrier between how we people who actually want to help, like give
yes,
money or give whatever, like why are you putting up a barrier to do that?
literally,
Like that just
literally,
seems like you're trying to filter through and be like, oh yeah, 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 we'll help them. And they never get the help that they need. Then where are they going then?
literally.
If we're giving the money to said organization, how are you going to get that money to them?
Literally. And to me, like like when I think about how did this happen? How did this sign get here? You know, this suburban mom who has
Oh,
never left her small little circle of other rich suburban moms, like went to a city council meeting and was like, "Oh my god, the homeless people, they're gonna like it corrupts my family and my children, and I don't want to see them, and they're gonna drop our housing value. We need to get rid of them. Let's put these signs up." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just like know the ick behind like what led
that's
to
the
that. It's
energy. That's 100% the energy. Yes, absolutely.
maybe we should do this segment earlier because I feel like now I'm all worked up. And
I
we were so
know
positive before, and now I'm
we
like, ugh,
were. It's fine because we're gonna close the loop.
let's bring it back.
We're
I
gonna
do
reel
love
it
this
back.
segment though.
Yes. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So, as you all know, we like to close out every episode by sharing the last drop of tea for today. Jess?
Yes. So going back to hobbies, I feel like the TLDR where we landed on hobbies was like, don't worry about the label of whether or not it's a hobby or not. Just do what you enjoy to do in the moment. And that's living. We'll see you guys next time.
See you later.
Bye.